right.
I'm with Ben Posthuma. I was actually listening, is it Posthuma? Because that'd be hilarious.
It's Posthuma. Close enough.
I blame my Australian accent.
It happens.
And Ben, can you introduce yourself to the rest of the world?
Yeah, of course. My name is Ben Posthuma. I am a researcher with the federal government of the United States, working under the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is our standards bureau. Within that, my department is concerned primarily with public safety communications. And what that means is, how are we going to enable first responders to be able to communicate today, tomorrow, and in future generations, and what kind of technologies can we start to bring to them?
Essentially, can I translate that? He's creating a communication, like real-time communication network that helps policemen, ambulance communicate better and relay it back.
Exactly. So I would like to point out we're not exactly creating it. There's other people creating it. What we're doing is providing the research into really making it as optimized as it can be.
Yeah. And so they're super optimize it, because when he told me some of the stuff that he was like, hey, that's super scalable, and how can we get into it?
Right. So what I was here talking about today.
Well, pretty much like, can you succinctly describe the core message that you want to describe?
Of course, right.
With your talk.
Right. So basically, what I'm looking for is people who are interested in working with artificial intelligence, robotics, and other sort of kind of hands-off applications to be able to deliver these networks. So these networks are becoming smaller and more transportable and more portable. And part of the concern of that, well, it's very nice to be able to provide a network everywhere all the time. Part of the concern about making it small and portable is now you have to have people that are basically in charge of where that network goes, how to operate it, and how to be able to actually manage it.
So I actually asked him, my phone is a network, and he described it really
Right.
eloquently.
So let me scale back for just a second and talk about what I mean by an actual network. So if you can picture your device, your cell phone, your tablet, whatever else that's connected to a cellular network, you have that device and you have the applications on the device and you're able to get all the connectivity that you want. You get all the information you need because ultimately through your cell towers and through your provider, you're ultimately connected to the internet, which is one worldwide network. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to give that same technology to first responders so that they can take advantage of all this technology that's been developed. We want to give them that. However, we want to go one step further and be able to provide that where there is no network, where there is no coverage. So imagine every time that you've been out of coverage with your cell phone, it's frustrating because you don't get any connectivity anymore. You can't connect. That can't happen with a first responder. So in places where there is no coverage or because of terrain, in the middle of the mountains, middle of nowhere, if it's congested because of a huge event, we want to be able to provide a separate network other than the fixed network that basically allows public safety to still be able to communicate no matter what the circumstance. And they can bring that network with them.
That's amazing because you can use that technology in remote areas or rural areas that are emergency care.
Exactly.
Or really God forbid, when there's an earthquake and there's all your network is down.
Exactly.
You've been able to have emergent networks where people still communicate.
That's exactly what we're doing.
And communication is still important because that's the first thing of help.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So for your example of the earthquake or the massive devastated area, we can provide forward networks that are in that area so that the first responders in that working that can still communicate with each other and they can eventually get back to where there is still fixed infrastructure and get data that they need to get so they can help the people the best.
That's amazing. I have to say, really awesome technology. And you want to work with startups to help why?
Right. So a lot of the basic technology of this is already in place. It's already being deployed. You see it anytime you go to a South by Southwest or a major concert, a major event, you see trailers if you're looking. You'll see cell trailers that are brought by the major carriers, and they basically provide expanded coverage for the network. If there's a wildfire, you see the big carriers bringing up some of their towers so they can basically do this. That's step one, and that's fantastic. Where we're looking next, though, is like I said, if we have these smaller and smaller so they can go in UAVs or if they can go in backpacks or if they can go in people's vehicles, we're going to have networks everywhere. And where we're looking for startups to be involved is because we want the management of that network to basically not really be a huge burden on the agency responding. We don't want to have an agency bringing network engineers with them. We want the first responders to be able to operate this network. Better yet, we want the network to be able to operate itself. Mm-hmm. And that's where the artificial intelligence or machine learning part comes into this, is because if the network components can learn who's in the network, what situation they're in, who's connected, what kind of environment it is, they can begin to know where they need to position themselves, where other networks need to position themselves, how to balance the users between the networks, and things like that.
Okay, that sounds like a really big thing.
It's huge.
It's huge, but the potential is like huge as well.
It is. It absolutely is. And it goes one step further too, because now that you have the network in place, now we have all this data that's being collected. There's the amount of data that's being used over a network is growing exponentially. So to be able to disseminate that data to first responders, we can also use machine learning techniques to be able to understand which first responder needs what data at what time. And so, therefore, the idea is that the first responder doesn't have to ask for the data. He doesn't have to request it. He doesn't have to have an analyst, a human, push the data to him. What he can do is he can have the data automatically being sent to him, delivered to his device, whatever it is, without them asking for it. And that's the ultimate.
So, like, the call to action is, like, if you want to connect with Ben about some of the ideas that he was talking about today, you should connect with him. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Don't forget to comment and like share like your LinkedIn or your email, and for people to connect with you or start with connect with you.
Yeah, of course. So if you want to connect, we have a fairly large test bed for people to come in and bring their technologies and see them work with other technologies in a representative environment. We'd love to talk about different ideas on how to make this, the small public safety market make sense to a startup. And we'd love to talk about, we offer, prizes and grants throughout the season just to make sure that we're getting everybody involved. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, please look me up. My email is Benjamin, BenJamin, .posthuma@nist.gov.
All right. And how do you spell NIST?
NIST.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.